welcome along and welcome back to Attingham Park. Today we're taking the 7810 here down to the shop because we need to start preparing our fields for next year's crops. So we are going to be getting a stone picker to go and do field 13 and 14. And then we also need to get hold of a manure spreader as well, because we have plenty of manure on the farm and lots of fields to prepare for the spring crops. So let's park this up here and head into the shop. And looking at the used vehicles today, there's not anything really of use to us, so we'll go and have a look in here and in the stone pickers. We only need a stone picker for a short period of time, and the most efficient one for us is going to be the Scorpio. We're 120 horsepower. We easily covering that with the 135 horsepower that our 7810 has. We will put the BKT tires on it and lease that. So that's going to cost us 2,652. So there we go with that. So let's head back out and hook that up to our 7810 here. Yeah, it is being December, still fairly dark at the moment. Also, most of our remaining crops are sitting at best price at the moment. Now, I'm going to leave it, I think, until January. We could sell everything now, but our weather is not looking too promising for the beginning of January. So I really want to try and do sell-offs when we're not looking at great weather. And then while we can actually work our fields, if I'm not hooked up my cables, no, sometimes they don't hook up properly. You need to move them about a bit and get them going. We are pulling it, but it's not pulling it very fast. That looks to me like my tires are getting stuck. Why is this not working? Yeah, hoses are connected. Maybe it just doesn't do the hoses on this. It should be okay. We've got 125 horsepower on the 8340, so maybe that will be able to do this instead. But yeah, at the moment the brakes don't seem to be releasing on this. Yeah, seems like my 7810 wasn't quite modern enough to handle the stone picker. Thankfully, the 8340 is hooked up to it fine. So we'll take this now down to field 13 and work our way back. We can't... Yeah, we can't really leave this going on a hired worker, because these stone pickers, you set them off with a hired worker, they fill up, and then they no longer work. They just keep going without emptying. So what I want to do is head down to the fields. We're going to create piles of stones that will come and pick up later in the trailers, and yeah, should work out fairly well for us, I think. My only worry is just how much a bucket full of these stones is going to weigh, and whether we can transport them. But it also depends actually on how many we pick out of the field, because we do have a pile of stones near where the pigs are. So, yeah, we may find that we're just not worth transporting them anywhere. With only a 5 horsepower overhead, it'll be interesting to see how this copes. We're not able to drive along just towing this in 8th. So, it looks like it's going to be fairly harsh on the tractor. We have cultivated this. We threw the power harrow over it. And afterwards we want to get some manure or some other form of fertilizer on. So let's start this up, drop this down, and yeah, away we go. We'll see how quickly this gets filled up. Having gone once down the field and back, we are going to be about 40% full by the looks of this. Couple of fairly big patches at this point. Now, I've left space between where I am and sort of my first row, because I want to come back along here and get just a straight row. I think we're gonna be able to, yeah, cover all of this pretty much, or all of this that we need to. with just one run back. We're going to be doing this then at 240 degrees, 241 degrees roughly. It works pretty well for the length of this field, and means we'll be able to do long sweeping pickups rather than lots of little fiddly ones, which will work out much better for us. Also tells us the rough angle that it's great to do this field at. I'm also toying with the idea of just putting these stones into the river at the crossing point here, and then having a look at field 41 over the other side, because I think that might be a really great field for us to go to. As far as access goes, we can access it from our farm here and then move across. Lots of people talking about I should sell field 6, and field 6 being quite a difficult one for us to do. I don't think it would be wise to do that this year. We've got we've just put crop into it. I think post harvest would be a great time to sell field 6 and go and get the money back for that. But we'll see how we go. We'll see what we're doing and whether that is something we decide to do later. I just want to make sure I don't put too much money into it this year to then suddenly go and sell it, because of course there's no advantage to doing that. I think my best bet is going to be to leave piles of these at the edges of the field, and then we'll come and scoop them up later, rather than just doing one pile overall. So let's bring this into somewhere where I'm actually going to be able to see it here. That would be by the side of the road over here. And there we go. Right, let's tip that out at this point and load this onto here. There we go. And away we go again. And this means that we'll be able to line this up, turn it back on, drop down, and away we go again. And yeah, already we got one load of stones off here. I think we're going to have a few loads off here. I wonder how much they'll be worth. I'm not expecting a huge amount. I'm wondering if it's worth trying to turn them into lime, though, to boost the pH on these fields. Now, I'm running across most of this field with this stone picker because, well, it is absolutely full of stones. But if you're hiring a stone picker and want to save yourself a bit of time, if your field isn't overly covered in stones like this one is, but you've got a few patches of big stones that are going to do damage to your to some of your equipment, then yeah, very much recommend that you only pick up the areas you need to. So for example, on field 2B, you can see I've got smaller patches, or field 2A actually, I've got smaller patches of the middle size stones, or the medium stones. I could just go to those patches and pick up the stones rather than what we're doing here, which is the whole of field 13. It's a much more efficient way to do everything. And even on here, the bits at the headlands where I don't need to pick up, I'm not too worried about lifting the tool, getting turned around and coming back, and then not having to go through doing that bit of the field and clearing up afterwards, because we're going to be using our drill and get everything set up on here anyway. So it all works out fine from that point of view. Just pick up the stones where you need to and get them off the field, really. We're getting fairly full again, and I kind of wish I'd emptied out at the bottom end of the field there when I turned around a moment ago. I think we're going to be okay, though. We've got 5% space, and we're getting fairly close to the end of the field. As I mentioned, you can see back there, actually, where I've got a few dots where I've not quite covered the full width. And that doesn't matter. So long as there's no stones in that section, it's all right. We don't have to worry too much about that. So what I'm going to do here is at 96% full, we'll turn this around. We'll get ourselves back onto the next row like that. And then I'm just going to dump the stones here. We can come up with a bucket and a trailer later, pick them up, but at least they're off the field and out of our way. And considering we're nearly halfway through this field, A, I think we're going to get field 13 done today, and B, I don't think we're going to get much more than another 4,000 litres of stone off this field. However, field 14 still needs doing. That's going to have to be done next time, but because we're going to be doing a sell-off next time, we're going to have to try and see if Courseplay does a better job with this than the hired workers do. Quite a change going from a farm where we're doing multiple jobs to everything sort of slowing down over the winter. And I quite like that. I quite like the fact that things get a little bit calmer and a little bit more peaceful before the storm of seeding and rolling and getting all the fields done for the next year kicks off again. It's quite nice to be able to sort of slow things down a little bit and just concentrate on a single job. I don't normally like to really do that in videos, but sometimes the only job you've got is a job that requires your complete attention to work properly, which is why I'm kind of hoping that we're able to run this with Courseplay for field 14, because next time we have a whole load of crops to sell off. We're expecting the wheat and the sorghum, and in fact the potatoes we have left, and yeah, just so much stuff to come ready next month that we're going to be really busy running back and forth doing that. And I really kind of don't need to be running around trying to keep the stone picker running. Of course, it may be a case of we have to go and run the stone picker separately later. And as long as we get field 14 ready in time, we'll be fine. This field here, this being canola, this will go into wheat. So, or this being sunflowers, it'll be going to wheat next year, and that means that this will be a fairly early seeding. We've got wheat in field 14 this year, so what we will want to do with field 14 is put the sorghum in, so that's going to be fairly late, so we don't have to worry too much about getting that picked really quickly. The only reason to pick that sooner rather than later will be the more days that we have this piece of equipment, the more it'll cost us. So yeah, if we can avoid holding on to this too long, that would be good. Do we have enough width to get all of that? No, we don't. So we're going to have to come and do a really thin pick along the edge there. It's actually getting wider the further down the field we go. So yeah, it'll be a little bit of a finish off for there. And there's lots of stones along that edge. So we'll probably have to do a little bit of a headland setup or a headland pick along there, but shouldn't be too bad. Middle of this field suddenly has nothing. We've got smaller stones. We've got lots of smaller stones and medium and large stones, so it's a real mixed bag on this field. And yeah, we are pretty much exactly at the halfway point now, which is a little bit concerning because it's also 1:15. The light is going to be failing soon, and I really want to get this field finished today. We've got snow on the way, and it looks like it's actually going to be fairly heavy. It's going to set in at 7 o'clock this evening and go through at least until 1 a.m. We're looking at 4 degrees C and 10 degrees C. So it's going to definitely affect how we're doing things on the farm. We kind of want to then get field 13 finished, I would like to try and get some manure on here, maybe on the 2nd day of January. I think we're going to probably have settled snow 1st day of January. So 2nd day of January would be great to be able to get some manure on here. That does kind of depend on whether we're going to be able to get this job done on field 14 as well. If I can get this job done on field 14 with a hired worker, then that is going to make a big difference to this. Otherwise, I think it might be February before we're actually spreading any manure, which is cutting it very close to wanting to get these fields planted at the earliest opportunity in the spring. Looking at our calendar, though, we're in with a good chance. Both the canola and the wheat can go in March. So these two fields doing in March would be perfect before we look at planting the sorghum come April. And we've got then 2 days to plant 3 fields in April, which would be great. And hopefully that will work out for us that way. That did go a little bit off course at the end of that. I don't think it's missed any stones, thankfully. So yeah, a little bit off course is not a problem, as I said before, if we don't miss any stones. But yeah, so that means that in March we can get the wheat into this field, the canola hopefully into field 14, and then everywhere else I think is sorghum. No, actually no, sorghum is field 14, so that's fine. It's field 12B that we've got to get the canola into, which is great. So these two fields next to each other, we should be able to get those planted in March and rolled in, and then we just have our 3 fields of sorghum to get planted in April and May, and that should be perfect. We still got field 2B and 2C to merge into the new field 2B, so I've got to watch that as well, because I think we're gonna need our stone picker to pick any stones that arrive in that gap between those 2 fields. We've got a great demand at county stores come in. Let's see what that is. Is it anything that we have on here? Doesn't look like it. So let's have a look here. The one thing that would really throw a spanner in the works was if it was sunflowers, which it's not. No, doesn't seem to be any crop that we currently have. Just going to flick through these quickly and check. No. No, not looking like it's anything that that we're after. And this is the only thing that annoys me about the great demand stuff. We used to be, in previous versions of the game, you'd get there's a great demand for X crop at county stores or at sell point. Now it just says there is a great demand without telling you which crop the great demand is for. I'd really like to see a return to it telling you which crop that great demand is for, because it would make a difference. It would make you go, oh right, I can go and sell this now, and you know, you could then immediately jump off and do it rather than trying to search through everything that's being sold and see what that great demand is actually for. And speaking of things that we're full with, we've got a full thing of stones again, so we'll go drop these at the edge of the field for pickup later. And well, it's 3:20. Maybe we actually have a chance of getting this field done today. We're coming up on the last few bits of the field, and it's really quite stony up on this headland. We've got lots and lots of stones right up to the edge, which means we need to cover most of it. I don't think we're going to get another full tank on this stone picker, though. I think we'll be fairly okay for that. We actually have a lot less stones on the headland at the end of the field here. It ends up that we can actually lift up, as you can see, quite away from the end. And this side bit here, though, this headland running between field 13 and 14, that is where we've still got a lot of stones. So I think we've got enough space here to get them all picked. It is just getting a little bit fiddly because we have to come along the headland here to make sure that we actually have everything picked before we can turn around, go back, and have to come at it at a slight angle. We are doing well, though. It is 20 past 4. The sun is heading down, so I'm going to turn the lights on the tractor here. But we are only about 2 or 3 rows from finishing, and this should do it. We've only got a couple of piles left here. Down goes that, and I think we have successfully beaten the sunlight. We've got one last little pile here. Pick that. Come over here and pull over. Let's turn that off and fold it up. And then we can pop over to the map, have a look, and look at that. A nice, completely clear field 13. Absolutely fantastic. And as the light is fading, it couldn't have gone better, that. And that's what happens when I actually concentrate on a single job rather than trying to juggle 6 at once. I do actually get that job done. Now, I'm going to put this here, and I think we might see if we can set up a courseplay course for this for next time on field 14. Although, actually, no, we want to test that. So we'll set all of that up next time. I want to get this tipped out over here and out the way. I am going to have a quick look at the prices of our crops. Because some of them are actually really quite high at the moment, despite the fact that next time should be the best price. Let's have a look. 140,971. See, that is still rising, despite the fact it says it's going down. It's still rising. It's above best price. So we are going to be taking a little bit of a risk here and seeing how much all this sells for. But certainly, January seems to be a massive sell-off time for all of our crops. So I'm looking to be making quite a bit of money next time on there. For now, though, I think we will leave this here for today. The sun is going down. It's getting darker. So all that remains is for me to say
thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please leave a like, drop us a comment, and give it a share. Special thanks to all my patrons and channel members. Your support is invaluable in making these videos and helping the channel to grow. For more from Virtual Farmer, check out the links below, follow on Twitch to watch live, and for more videos, subscribe and ring that bell. I will see you next time. Goodbye.